That music get you going. Hey, we are live. Let me tell y'all something. Let me tell you something funny. So I was in a different environment yesterday where the lighting was different and I had um professional lights all around me while I was creating some content. And so I came into my office, y'all, and I logged on to StreamYard and went out and told my husband, I was like, oh, this looks awful. It looks awful because you don't realize it's almost like flying first class. And then once you fly first class, when you got to fly something else, right? You're like, whoa, this is not it. So I just told him, okay, next on the list is to upgrade this lighting. And not the lighting in the office, the lighting for your streaming, right? Lighting for your streaming makes a very, very big difference. I had a soft light, a very, very large soft light to my left yesterday, and then I had like a studio lighting to my right, and it made a difference. So enough of my rambling. Hoping you are having an amazing day. Hello, Jack, Brenda, Kim, Kathleen, Renee, Deborah, Moore, Kelly. We've got Alicia and Tedra in the studio with us this evening. It's going to be a party. Listen, before we get started, let's make sure that we are our brother's keeper and our sister's keeper. And let's let everybody know that book club is actually live. So give me 1 second. I want to make sure everybody knows that we're here. We would hate for anyone to miss book club. So let me go ahead and share that we are live. Let's see. And it is loud out there. Paige has it on the tablet. And let's go ahead and go on Facebook and let everyone know that book club is live. If for those of you who are in the comments, let us know how you have been enjoying this book, The Power of One More by Ed Mylett. Let everybody know in the comments what the book has been like for you. You guys, it's very important that they realize or that everybody understands. Look at who we got with us tonight. I'm calling her out. Whoa! So everyone in this group, facts. Yep, I know I will. Hold on. I know we will. All right. So you guys, make sure, like I said, tag and share. I am getting ready to post it in a few places to make sure we get everybody on. I don't want to grow by myself. I want everybody around me to have not just a positive attitude, but a growth mentality as well. Because that's really different. Having a positive attitude is not always difficult. But what about being able to have a growth mentality? Something that, being around people who want to grow and who want to challenge you to grow. Today, you guys, we've been here at the house getting some things done to make sure that our conference for next week in Philadelphia is going to go on without a hitch. We secured our DJ finally. What's up, Sonya? We finally secured our DJ. That was a task, y'all. Seemed like every DJ we contacted had other events to do and or were out of town. Some of them just had babies. They were like, I took the month of July off. I'm like, not July, right? A lot of people travel in the month of July. And so we want to make sure tag and share, you guys, let everybody know that we are live. So we have been reading The Power of One More. And I have two guests in the studio with me that we'll bring up from time to time as we're reading. But two guests are in the studio with us. We've been reading The Power of One More, and we're actually on chapter 15. For those of you who have been reading this book along with us, you're probably sad because you know that this book is getting ready to end in just 4 chapters, I believe it is. Let me check again. I believe it's 19. Yep, 4 chapters. And we are on a very, very special, pivotal, what I would like to believe is going to be a very pivotal chapter for us. One more and defining leadership. One more and defining leadership. Now, there's some of y'all, if this is your first time joining us, you're probably going to be feeling like you're getting a dual kick, karate chop, right? A dual kick was taken. So we went to the arcade the other day, y'all, and Paul saw the whole kid in me come out when I saw that video game. I looked like a whole kid. I used to play my nephew Caleb on the game, and he could not figure out when he was a kid how I used to whoop his behind all the time. I had one move, one player, and I had one move, and I used to wear him out. Okay, so that's what a dual kick. A dual kick is, if you're like, what is a dual kick, right? But we're gonna be reading one more, and defining leadership. If you want to lift yourself up, lift up someone else. That is a quote. What's up, Shammy Shams? What's up, Janice Kelly? Deborah Moore, how you doing? Sean Dunnigan. That is a quote from Booker T. Washington. I'm going to say that again. If you want to lift yourself up, lift up someone else. That is that quote right there, right? I found that the more that the less that I focused on myself, and the more I focused on helping other people win, other people, get healthy, other people understand their worth and their value, the more I practiced focusing on other people, guess what? I in turn got blessed. And so let's go ahead and dive right in, right? Welcome, welcome, welcome. If this is your first time, we are reading The Power of One More by Ed Mylett. I pray that something in this book blesses you and actually opens your mind so that you have a greater desire to grow and learn. So the concept of leadership is as old as civilization itself. And I doubt there's a personal development topic that's been studied or written about more. So what does it mean to be a one more leader? I want all of you guys that are listening, that are on here live with us. Hello, Dawn. Type in what you think leadership is. Type it in the chat. Now, y'all know that I'm very, very big on words. Y'all know I'm big on words. And so y'all know, as a matter of fact, hold on. Y'all know what? We got to go to Threads and tell everybody on Threads that we are live on Book Club, don't we? We got to let them know on Threads that book club is live, right? Because you never know. You never know. So let's go on. I went to Threads and let everybody know on Threads that we are live on book club. And all right, here we go. So leadership, y'all know I'm big on words, and I believe that we should always look up the definition of words. And let's see. Tedra, are you able to get the definition for us for the word leadership? If you are, I'll bring you up to the studio. I believe, because we're not going to bother. Alicia, you're driving, so you stay driving. We'll just bring you up to talk if we need to.
Yes, I'll look it up. Give me 1 second. I'm looking it up now.
I think we're going to find several variations of the definition of leadership. But for all of you that are on, what is leadership to you? Jack says leadership is setting the example. Sonia says it is leadership is serving others before ourselves. First time here. Hello, Dion Denise. Welcome. Prayerfully, this won't be your last. All right. We're reading The Power of One More by Ed Mylett. Enjoy. We're actually on chapter 15, and you don't even need the book. So just get cozy and come on, Tedra. What is the definition of leadership?
Okay, so it says leadership is the ability of an individual or a group of people to influence and guide followers or members of an organization, society, or team. Leadership is often an attribute tied to a person's title, seniority, or ranking in a hierarchy.
Okay, that was a whole mouthful right there. I want you to stay right here with me for a second. We can't even start the chapter until we understand that the title of this chapter, Dion, is One More, is the power of one more and defining leadership. So in this chapter, we're going to be defining leadership. That's major because, as you see, now listen, I don't want anybody to feel bad because you gave an answer and because now we're seeing that leadership really is an attribute. Leadership is by definition is the ability to influence. Mm-hmm. Because if you cannot influence others to follow you, then that just means that we've got some work to do to build our leadership skills. Now, what I do believe, and there are different opinions of this, Tedra. There are some people that say leadership is it's you're born a leader. There are now, do I believe that there are some people that are born with a natural ability to lead? No, I believe it's the environment that they're in that cultivated it.
Mhm.
I believe that anyone could become a leader if in the right environment to cultivate it. Let's use Paige for instance. And the reason why I want to use Paige, Tedra, is because you've known her all her life. You haven't known me all
Yes,
my life, although you've known me for a long time. You've known Paige all her life. All right. So
exactly.
you clearly watched Paige be around Zooms and trainings to the point where she wanted to be around them. Like when we wanted her to go off, well, why don't you go with the other kids? No, I'm coming to the meeting. I'm coming to the I want
Yes.
why can't come to the conference. So because Paige was in the environment of leadership cultivation, training, mentoring, what do you how do you want to chime in on that? Do you believe outside of that environment? Maybe, maybe not, right? But what do you
Right.
believe? Because you've known her all her life and you've watched her. What is it that you believe about the environment that she's grown up in?
I definitely believe I agree with your analysis that I think I don't think you're necessarily born a leader. I believe it's a skill that you acquire based on your environment. So using Paige as an example, since I've known her all her life, is because that's her environment all the time. And I just mean that in everything y'all do. Like in your household, that is how y'all teach her. I mean, I witnessed it just recently, a couple weekends ago. That is the environment she's used to. So even when you say to Paige, it's okay, go ahead and have fun, she wants to absorb what she's around. So because she sees you leading, she sees her dad leading, she sees her uncles leading, like that is, she's bred in that environment. So if you use, I'm gonna just use myself as an example. Yes, I was around leadership, but not until I was like in the teens, okay, from my dad being the leader. However, I didn't have that from the very beginning, and there was some unprogramming that had to be done with me. And even as I developed more, taken from corporate, coming over in this world is different. Whereas she's always around it from baby until 9 years. So that's what she knows because she's in that environment. So I think as we get older, if we have not been around it, it takes us a little bit longer. It's like y'all been talking about the coachability index. That's where she's been coached at. That's where she's been around all her life. So it's easy for her to just step into it. And even naturally, when she's around other children, she even takes, I've seen Paige literally take, and it doesn't matter if it's an older person or a kid, she's naturally a nurturer. Like Paige looks for the person, I'm gonna just use the word underdog,
Mhm.
that needs that lift up, and she nurtures them and she leads them by default without effort. It's like her environment. She doesn't have to fight to do it. It just comes to her naturally. And that's a beautiful thing. So at 9 years old, she's already leading adults and children and animals to say that. Okay, it's amazing because she's been around that from you and her dad, from Paul.
So the hardest part about that, and I brought Alicia up to the screen as well, and you're right, Shammy, you cannot lead if you can't follow first, right? The hardest part of that as a parent, believe it or not, is monitoring how much, because I don't ever want to stifle the gift that's in her, but it is now very, very I don't want to, it's not challenging, but we have to be very cautious when you see a child that has this natural gifted ability. You have to be careful how much of it you pounce. You don't want to turn out, you don't want to blow out the candle or blow out the flame. So it's very, very now we got to be very mindful, is the word I'm not checking, right? We have to be very mindful how much of it we have to pull in. And because she and Jalil are very much alike. They both, it's funny, I'll say it like this. I was standing in line. um I watch a lot of things on Instagram, TikTok. I like to go try things, right? Try new things, try new places. And so we had been to this place, the Chattahoochee, several times, but there are some new booths that are in some new places that are in Chat. So we went down there to kind of try them, and some things that one of the girls on Instagram pulled out. And I was thinking to myself, you know, this is a child now that, because when you see a person is gifted, she naturally thrives, believe it or not, to very young or older. Her peers, it's almost like they don't have nothing to talk about, because her peers, she's in a very different mental space than her peers. And so the peers, they just want to, like, there's things that they want to do that just doesn't interest Paige, right? And so what I'm thinking about is, like, even on our trip yesterday, Paige is open to trying new things. Paige is open to meeting new people. Even in those, it doesn't matter where she's at, Paige is always going to find her friend. She's always going to make a friend, but it's usually she wants to go talk to the little ones, like the little ones or the much older ones. She holds very, very articulate conversations with people. I believe that we have to unlearn. It's not even what we have to learn, it's the unlearning. Because in corporate America, you go to a specific job, you clock in at a specific time. Even if you're home, there are certain things that you have to clock in by a certain time, right? And then you go to lunch at a certain time, you have certain days off, you, right, all of those things. So you are programmed to listen and only obey what the corporate structure says. And then you come into entrepreneurship and we're like, what do you mean you didn't write your goals? What do you mean you didn't set a goal for the week? You didn't set, because you're used to the corporate structure setting the goal for you. This has to be done by this day. This has to be done by this time. These pickups have to be done today by this amount of time. You got this many people to go do this, and you got this and that. And so now you come into this entrepreneur world and you're like almost lost, because that's a good one, Janice. Almost lost because you're like, I'm used to being told what to do. It's a cycle. Alicia, you want to talk about it? Oh, she like, Tedra, you look like you were like, well, wait a minute. Yes.
Listen, that is so true. I can relate to that. And I can, because, that's what I've lived most of my life. And it's so true. People have such an employee mentality because they've been told what to do. So coming over here, you have to undo. For myself, been working since a teenager, undo like 20 something years of somebody saying, do this, do that. And even though it's not rigid in my environment, you still have deadlines. Now you come here and it's like, I'll even use the example last night we had when Stanisha was talking about what, like, be specific with your goals, and how you helped me with it when I was there a couple weeks ago. Like, you really have to drill down, and until you get that clarity, you can't get to where you need to go. But it takes some undoing before you can actually get on track. So we have to learn to unpack, peel back the layers, and then go up. Whereas Paige, she don't have no layers to peel back because she's been in it from a baby. So this is what she knows. So she's more at an advantage, I would say, than a disadvantage, because there's nothing to unpack. She's just going into her leadership, and she can be a great follower because she's following her parents, and her whole environment is just that. Whereas I gotta undo at 51, 20 something years of everything just to be able to now say, okay, you know what? You're free to do this. You're free to do that. It's okay to think the way you want to think. It's okay to believe you the way you want to believe. It's okay to do. And I think sometimes we get held back until we realize, wait a minute, I have a right to do this. I can do this. This is what I am born to do. Okay. This is what I need to be doing. This is what I want to do. So it's almost a freeing, but sometimes, at least for myself, I have gotten a lot better with it, that you kind of hold back because you're waiting for somebody to tell you what to do. No, just do because you are allowed to do. You have that permission because you can lead. You just have to
Here's
put
one
yourself out there.
Here's one bigger, because something that just while you were talking. So, if at work they tell you that you are worth this amount and you are accustomed to earning this amount based on what they tell you you are worth. Now, that is also programmed in your mind. So it becomes difficult as an entrepreneur because you like, you capped. They didn't pay you what you think you're worth. So now here we are telling you, you got a birthright to be wealthy, sis. You got a birthright to be wealthy, sir. What are you settling for these little bit of crumbs over here? Because now anything that a person is earning outside of the capacity of what you've been beating your head told that you can earn. Uh-oh, y'all. So here we are now. We network marketing. We're going to break the shackles off your mind and teach you that you're worth more than what they say you're worth. And now you fighting against it. You like, I'm fighting against it because this on paper, this is what they say I'm worth. I can't get no more than this. And we're like, you can get whatever you want. But for 20 years, 10 years, 30 years, we got to understand that they're capped. You're not. They are capped. You're not. Sean just said something very, 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 very powerful. He said, and I promise y'all we're gonna read, but y'all never know what happens with these, right? He said something very, very powerful. He said, our companies compete against each other. They have daily goals. American has to get a certain amount of flights out a day. They've got to get a certain amount of that. It's got to. McDonald's has a goal. McDonald's has a goal. They need to. Do you know that from the moment you place your order, the clock starts ticking? And they have a time frame in which they have to get your order out in a certain amount of minutes. Y'all, because everything in life is a system. Everything in life is a system. All right. And listen, at American, they meet every morning at 9:15 to discuss the daily goal. The daily goal. So I will give you something very, very powerful, and I promise I'm going to read. We just talked about what leadership is. This chapter is all about leadership. It's about defining leadership. I was away at a conference once, and my oldest brother, who is very, very, very well, like this, he's a very avid reader. He's very bright, y'all. He's not. He's smarter. He's way smarter than me. Y'all smarter than me too. I'm just a hustler. I just know how to hustle. Okay. So he said, we were at a conference once, and I said to my brother, well, what more do people want me to do? I'm telling them what to say. I said, I'm showing them what to do. Well, what they want me to do? Tell them every word to say. Tell them because I'm venting now. Like, I know that I do a lot, and I'm what else do they want me to do? You want me to? I said, so what, I'm supposed to tell them everything to say now? He said, yeah, you are. He said, you obviously have mastered. He said, you don't even know how you've mastered it, but you've mastered the art of creating posts and creating verbiage and creating da. He was like, and because we're dealing with people who have been told what to do all their lives, if you don't tell them what to do, he's like, because at the end of the day, it changes your end game. He said, so if you don't tell them what to do, they won't do nothing because they're used to being told what to do. It was like, and that was at the meeting, after the meeting. That wasn't inside of the conference. Because most of the stuff, Alicia, now let me give y'all a hint. I'm one of the only leaders you're going to be very, very fortunate enough to find hanging around in lobbies and stuff like that. Oh, I promise you, go to conferences. You ain't gonna see very many of me. Okay. The leaders don't do that. They don't want to be bothered. They don't pour it out. Now they're going back to their rooms. They're going to eat in private. Sean, tell me, Tedra, am I telling the truth? You're not going to find. I am one of the very few people who actually didn't sit after I've taught and then still I'm open to pouring. I don't go hide. I don't go, now, is there a point in my career where I may have to do that just to get a breather? My husband has had to carry me out of rooms because people will just keep pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling. And what we have to realize is about 3% of the people who are at those events are going to actually do what you tell them to do. Right? So I will give you a little hint. If you ever see me, first of all, I'm not going to text people like, hey, I'm out in the lobby or hey, I'm out of no. Either you catch it or you don't. Either you stick around. If you're there thinking, well, I'm hungry, you better put some granola bars in your bag and some carrots and some celery sticks and some peanuts, some almonds, carry some fruit, because you miss it. If you think that Nina gonna sit around, where's everybody at? No, if it's 2 people, they gonna catch it. And most of what I have caught that has catapulted my career to the next level has been because I was in the meetings after the meetings. So while y'all trying to sleep, don't worry, there will be time for cheesesteaks in Philly, right? We can get Larry's to deliver them right down to where we going to be. And most people don't need a whole bunch of cheesesteak. No way. But anyway, right? But anyway, we're going to make sure y'all get a cheesesteak in Philly. You can't go to Philly without a cheesesteak and maybe some water ice, okay? But you need to know this, that if I'm sitting out in a lobby, you better find your way there, because that's where you're going to get. And most of what I've learned was at like 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning, with major mega leaders like a James Dentley. Okay? Y'all can split the cheesesteaks. You're not going to eat a whole one. All right. So anyway, let's keep reading. I'm going to leave y'all on screen if y'all don't mind. I'm going to just leave you here. Okay? So as I define it, you are a one more leader if you help people do things they would not otherwise accomplish. So we all are one more leaders if we can help people do things they would not otherwise accomplish. Okay? Without your presence. What would they not otherwise accomplish without your presence? I know that there are people that would not earn the kind of income that they're earning without my presence. They would not be healed emotionally without my presence. They would not be losing weight or getting fit the way they are without my presence. So leaders, if you help people do things they would not otherwise accomplish without your presence, right? If you can't do that as a leader, there is no need for you. Uh-oh. Now that y'all, if y'all gonna be mad at Ed Mylett, his words, not mine. If you can't do that as a leader, meaning if you cannot help people do things that they would not otherwise accomplish without your presence, it says that there's no need for you. See, now that's some deep truth right there. He says there's no need for you. Whether you realize it or not, you're already a leader. Type it in the chat. I am already a leader. At a minimum, you lead yourself. Maybe, right? Maybe. You may also lead your family, employees, teammates, when you practice your religious doctrine and several other ways. For our purpose, the question then becomes, how can I use the concept of one more to become better at leading others? Is there anyone who wants to become better at leading others? Now, there are those who make the case that people are born leaders. Ain't that crazy? We did not read this, and here we are saying the same words I just said. All right? So there are people that say people are born leaders. That may be so, but I also firmly believe that leadership is a learned trait. Hello? Leadership is a learned trait. Everyone has it within themselves to be an effective leader if they decide to work at it. There is the key. Every one of us can be an effective leader if we decide to work at it. Sanisha was saying that on her training last night with us. She was saying, like, the problem is that we keep celebrating the little bit we do, and that wasn't what we were supposed to do, right? That wasn't the full task. So what happens is, and I listen to it all the time, people often celebrate too fast. And they're celebrating, well, I mean, I did a little bit of it. No, that wasn't the assignment. If either we do it all or not. And that's what she said last night. Like, no, you cannot celebrate because you did something. That's not enough to celebrate that. Because what happens is we'll get complacent with thinking, well, I mean, I did something. Would you be able to tell your boss that? I'm gonna stop on that one. If your bosses came to you and said, well, where is the work? And you say, well, I mean, I did some of it. Now, here's the deal. So, this is what I do. This is just what I do. Alicia, what I do is I hold myself accountable to me. And what I say is, Nina, did you get it done? Because my goal is to retail nothing less than $200 a day. Which means, y'all, I cannot go to sleep until I've done at least $200 a day. Now, enrollments, I'm not so like, I've already put in 378 people in the system since we've been here. My goal is to not stop. I want 1,000 personally enrolled to me, right? Of course, out of 375, you get about 10% that's going to work, right? Maybe 10%. So that's why the numbers got to be high in enrollment. You can't enroll 4 people and think you're going to make it to diamond unless you enroll 4 people that are just like you, right? You got to realize that there's a numbers game. So if Nina Moore enrolls 378 people and in one account, so we're closer to about 380, right? And no, actually more than that, 380, almost 400 people, right? Because I'm running a few different things going on, right? About 400, almost 400 people, and only 10% of them are doing something. I didn't say they were all working. I said 10% are doing something, right? Y'all get it? So now what I have to do is I have to be the boss to myself. Did you do what you said you was going to do today when you said it a month ago? Uh-oh. When you said it a month ago. All right? So if you couldn't tell your boss that and think you're still going to have your job, then why do you do it to yourself when honestly you should have more respect for yourself than for your boss? So, leadership is a learned trait. Everyone has it within themselves to be an effective leader if they decide to work at it. To do this, start by taking a closer look at what the elements of leadership are. The elements of leadership. Listen, I've had the honor of being a leader in my family, on sports teams, for multiple businesses, and in several other capacities in my life. What I'm about to share are universal leadership elements that transcend who you are or where you are in your life, where you're at in your life, whether you're an athlete, a coach, a parent, or a business leader. These elements include selling a big dream, knowing that everyone is born with unique gifts, and 6 basic needs drive us. So how do we sell a big dream? As a leader, it's critical for you to sell a big dream. Let me illustrate this powerful point. You need to sell a big dream so that the dreams of everyone you lead can fit inside the one you're selling. For example, if you're a Clemson football coach, Dabo Sweeney, you might sell the idea that not only does everyone fit inside the dream could also be historic, one that will be remembered for the ages. This could mean undefeated, having a record number of players drafted into the NFL, or setting other performance marks that have never been achieved before. Giving people a sense they are involved in something historic is a key step in how you build a culture. That culture means that each individual player and everyone connected to them to the team is involved in a bigger dream. A dream much bigger than they can imagine on their own. Another critical element is that when you work with the people you lead, help them understand that by making history, they are also making a difference in their lives and many other lives as well. Think bigger. Type that in the chat. Think bigger. Dare to challenge yourself to make history. All right? To make history. Dare to challenge yourself to make history. Talk bigger. That's a good one. Think bigger. Talk bigger. Dare to challenge yourself to make history. Now, when they say talk bigger, that doesn't mean diarrhea of the mouth. That's not what that means. Some people just like to hear themselves talk. Talk bigger, which means as you think bigger, you talk about bigger things. All right? Bigger production. So you can't think bigger, talk bigger, and not produce bigger. Does that make sense? So what I'm saying is, where we used to say, well, I just want $100 a day. Now, great. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I want you to still want $100 a day, but I moved to a different place. I can't any longer just settle for $100 a day. Does that make sense? Now my number is like 250. Let's see if we can do 250 a day, Nina. Because 100, y'all, I can wake up and not really move and do $100 a day, like with ease. So if I do that with ease, right, Janice? If I can do that, Tedra, with ease, then why would I keep doing something that I can do with ease that's not challenging me? Does everybody get what I'm saying? If I'm just every day just doing this same $100 a day, I mean, it's just with, right? Then I'm never, ever going to grow. Right? So it says, think bigger. Dare to challenge yourself to make history. How many of you all are ready to make history? Like, I am ready to make history. You know, someone said this to me, Alicia, last week. I was having a conversation with somebody that's young, 28. And he said, you know, Neen, they all call me Neen Bean, right? He said, you the first millionaire in your family, and ain't nobody talking about that. He said, I'm sorry. He said, you know why they not talking about it? Because you're not a boy. He said, because see, if you was a boy, it would be a big darn deal. But because you aren't a boy, and because you whatever, he's like, nobody's talking about the fact that you've already broke the lid for your whole family. Sell others on the idea that the big dream makes a difference. Wait a minute, y'all. So we got to think bigger, dare to challenge ourselves to make history. We have to what? Talk bigger. Sell others on the idea that the big dream makes a difference. But guess what? Guess what we got to do now, y'all? Act bigger. So think bigger, talk bigger, act bigger. Do the hard work involved with selling the dream and let your people, wait a minute, see you doing it. So basically, you can't tell somebody to do something that you can't show them you're doing. Well, I've already showed my family. I've already earned $1 million. I've already done it, Janice. Like, it ain't something I'm thinking about. I did it already. And here's the deal. I'm going to do it again. Bigger. Wait a minute. Bigger. Acting bigger. Talking bigger. The book says, are you catching this? If you're catching this, type it in the chat. I'm catching this. Leadership, listen, is about executing small things very well, but thinking and talking about big things repetitiously. Somebody ought to write that down. Matter of fact, I am getting ready to highlight that. Leadership is about executing small things very well, but thinking and talking about big things repeatedly. I will read that line one more time. Leadership is about executing small things very well, but thinking and talking about big things repetitiously. All right. Your number one priority is to sell a big dream. You know, it's so crazy as I think about people have so much against dreamers. And they'll say things like, you better stop dreaming and come back down here to reality. What? Like what? What if Walt Disney had to stop dreaming? What if the Wright brothers had to stop dreaming? What if Thomas Edison had to stopped dreaming? What if Madam C.J. Walker had to stopped dreaming? Don't you think that they sounded crazy, Tedra, when they said, I'm going to make me a machine that's going to fly us in the air? Can you imagine how cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs they sounded? And now you sitting around mad at your family because they think you're crazy. They're supposed to think you're crazy because they have small, limited thinking, and your thinking is big. You're not thinking like them. So you must stop allowing what they say to make you feel like you need to back up. Because all I know is Mark Zuckerberg calls a meeting and he invites 5 people to his dorm room. 5. Alicia, 3 of them didn't show up because 3 of them were like, here he go again with these lofty dreams. Here he go again talking about some oh, he gonna create something on social. What is social media? What is he talking about? He's gonna create a Facebook. Like, that doesn't even make sense. And the 2 that showed up, 2 showed up. And the 2 that showed up today, they are billionaires because they would dare to invest in an idea that sounded totally ludicrous. It sounded like Mark Zuckerberg needed to go to the insane asylum. Do you think that your dream is going to sound like it makes sense? What do you mean, Nina? You are walking away from the hair salon. That's what you've been doing for 25 years. What do you mean you walking away from the hair salon to go sell some tea? That you don't think that that's what they thought I had lost my mind. What? But here's the deal. My work ethic matched my words. So the one thing my father knew was whatever she do, she gonna be all right because Nina ain't lazy. And her work ethic matches her words. But they thought I was crazy. You gonna walk away from your entire clientele to go sell some tea? Yes, I am. I am. I certainly am. And I did. And I got a $500,000 check out there on my fireplace to prove that I worked my tail off and built teams in multiple countries. Yes, I am. I no longer want to be a slave to this chair. I loved my clients, but I was a slave to the chair. I couldn't move like I needed to move and go where I wanted to go because I was bound. I was a slave to the chair. Y'all feel me? So as a parent, listen, wait a minute, and probably bigger than the one you're thinking about now. So one priority is to sell a big dream, and probably bigger than the one you're thinking about right now. It must be all encompassing. I am here to tell you all that you're not dreaming big enough. And let me tell you why. You know why? Let me tell y'all why. I put it up on my wall today. The Bible says that he'll open up the windows of heaven and pour us out blessings, right, James, that we won't have room enough to receive. But then he says, think about it. Think about what did my post say? It says above all that you could ever ask or think. Think. Wait a minute. So I'm here to tell you, James Keys, Sean, your dream ain't even big enough. Wow, Janice, your dream ain't big enough. Tedra, your dream ain't big enough. Alicia, Kim, Keisha, Marguerite, Tamara, Deborah, Dion, your dream, Robin, Krim, is not big enough. It ain't big enough. Because here's the thing. Let me tell you why it ain't big enough. Because you can't even think that big. You know why? You're thinking right now based on your current circumstances. Which is why I force myself to look at luxury lifestyle on Instagram. I force myself to look at the luxury homes in Georgia and the luxury homes in Houston and the luxury homes in LA. And I force myself to look at cars and force myself to look at furniture and I force myself to look at, come on, y'all. I force myself to look at that stuff. And I look at it every day. You know why? I'm programming my mind to dream bigger every single day. Oh, look at that house. Look at that car. Because ain't nothing. See, we've been programmed, Robin Owens, to believe that we ain't supposed to want all that stuff. Now, help me understand why. Last I checked, my father owns all the silver, all the gold, all the cattle, all the land, all the what? And you mean to tell me if I am an heir and a joint heir of the kingdom? As a matter of fact, Alicia, can you look up the definition of the word heir? H-E-I-R. Give us the definition of the word heir, because some people out there got it twisted. We ain't thinking big enough, and because we're not dreaming big enough, we ain't never gonna have bigger because we ain't thinking big. Come on, Alicia, what is the definition of the word heir?
So it's a person legally entitled to the property or rank of another on that person's death.
So God's not dead, he's yet alive. Okay, so he ain't dead. But it says we're an heir legally. Yeah. Legally, I have a right.
Entitled.
I am entitled. You know what's so crazy? We walk around here entitled about everything else but that. Ow! What? Come on, Nina, that was a home run. We walking around here entitled to everything else but that entitlement. Legally. Let me start walking around here like legally, I got a right to be wealthy. I have a right to be healthy. I have a right to lead. I have a right. Come on, y'all. Dream bigger. Dream bigger. Think bigger. Act bigger. Dream bigger. Think bigger. Act bigger. Let me tell you what I learned. If I do this, y'all, I got these at a conference I was at, and I sit them right here to remind myself of watching myself on screen after being doing 100,000 in team volume in 90 days. If I got my hands full of these, right, and they full, overflowing, if I'm not willing to give this up, I'll never be able to feel nothing else. I'll never be able to put nothing else in my cup, in my hands. But because we so stingy, right? We're living a lack mentality, thinking like nothing else gonna ever come. So we do this. We put it in our hands and we do this. Now, because we done did this, God is saying, what you doing that for? I can't even get nothing else in there. Fear. afraid to let go, not understanding that we have an ever flowing fountain from the Father who I'm legally entitled. Y'all, listen. Let me stop. I ain't supposed to be preaching on you. We supposed to be reading this book. Let me go on back to the book because y'all like read the book, Nina. All right. So as a parent, you must sell a big enough dream so that your spouse and your children can see themselves fitting inside the dream you're selling. If you lead a church, your dream must be big enough so that all the members of the congregation can fit their dreams and aspirations inside of it. So stop right now. Many of you that I'm watching on here are in business, right? Let me ask you a question. Is your dream big enough for your entire team to fit in it? I know mine is. Listen, I know mine is. But is your dream big enough for your entire team to fit in it? Is your dream big enough for your entire family to fit in it? When Paul and I were moving down here to Georgia, let me tell you what they said, Tedra. People literally had the nerve out their mouths. I had to like block them for a minute. Why would you leave the house you was in? It was beautiful. Now you went bigger when you ain't even got no family down there. I said, let me smack you back into reality for a second. How dumb does that sound? That you think I'm going to go down to Georgia and go to something smaller. Where my family going to stay when they come to visit? She said, one of the person said, well, I mean, they ain't coming to stay with you every weekend. I said, that doesn't matter. When they come, I want them to have the pleasure of being able to stay in the home that the Lord blessed us with. I want people to walk in the doors and feel like, I want to give people an experience away from their normal living situation. So that when they walk in the doors, they dreaming bigger. Come on, somebody. When they walk in the doors, they like, okay. This ain't a braggadocious thing. This is, I want you to dream bigger. Think bigger. Want bigger. Think, act. Think, act. Think. Does it make sense, y'all? So that when you walk in the door, you're like, first of all, you look at them windows and you just like, I could. How many of you have walked in the door and said, I could. Yeah, this one, yes. You feel me? All right. So if as a business leader, the dream must be big enough so that every employee can also see themselves inside that dream. If you run a large manufacturing company, you need to sell a big enough dream so you can meet the needs of your customers because you can satisfy the dreams of everyone you lead in that company. There are few two leaders in the world today who sell a big enough dream. You show me any great leader, and I'll show you a leader who is selling a dream that captures the hearts, the desires, and the emotions of everyone they lead. The dream you're selling as a family leader or a business leader should encompass your values and your vision. Well, guess what? You cannot help somebody dream bigger if you don't even understand or have any values. That's what this says. And what is your vision? A dream is what you stand for, your vision of the future, the difference you're going to make in the world. Why is that so important? As a leader, you're in a different place than everyone else. So if you hanging out with everyone all the time that is not in leadership, no. As a leader, you're in a different place than everyone else. As a leader, by definition, you're out in front. You have a different viewpoint and perspective than the people standing behind you. Your job is to tell those people what you see. All right? Tell those people how amazing it's going to be and keep telling them over and over again. It's your obligation as a leader by position alone to effectively do this. From their position, they can't see it as you can. So you must you must get them to see it from your position. So, how many of you, because you're waiting on somebody else to do it for you, you brought people onto your team and they're not moving because you haven't sold them a dream, a vision? That's your responsibility. And if you don't know it yet, then that means that you're not connecting enough. That is something you have to figure out for yourself. Nobody is going to do that for you. Here's another critical point. Everybody you lead does not have to believe what you're saying. Isn't that crazy? They only need to believe that you believe what you're saying. Come, let me read that again. Everybody that you lead does not have to believe what you're saying. I know that a whole lot of people that are with me in business don't believe what I'm saying, but they certainly believe that I believe it. Y'all know that I believe it beyond a shadow of a doubt. So to the point that when you look at my board, you see the words every day. You know that I believe it. You know that I believe it because I'm looking at it every single day. $100,000 a month in income. I ain't playing. That's before the end of the year. That's not my ultimate goal, Alicia. That's before the end of the year. But here's the deal. In order for me to be at $100,000 a month in income, that means that I 100% believe that so many of you guys are going to have 10,000 in volume running in your pay leg. Okay. I've already written down my 10. I know I'm going to have 10 people producing 10,000 in volume in their pay leg every single week the moment you believe it. Because you know that I believe it beyond a shadow of a doubt. My husband sometimes looks at me like he don't think I'm crazy, but he gives me that look like this woman and her crazy behind faith. Literally, now here's the deal. I understand that as a man, it can be difficult because men are like naturally wired that they're supposed to be the provider. But he got a crazy wife that's like, what? I done talked to Jesus about that already. It's done. It's going to happen. Go on to sleep with Paige. I'm going to finish out, close out, because it's going to happen. And he'll get up, and some nights he stays up with me. And other nights I'm like, go on to bed. Go. It's going to get done. I don't care what it looks like right now at this hour. Alicia, I don't care. What I know is that tonight before midnight, I already know what I see. I already know what I see is going to happen on today. Just because it's not there right now, don't mean it ain't going to happen. But it's going to happen today. I promise y'all. Like, we finna get busy tonight. It's going to happen today. All right. So, it's 6:59. Y'all, we got to hurry up. So they only need you to believe they only need to believe that you believe what you're saying. Too many leaders constantly try to get people to believe what they are saying. That comes across as desperate and weak. Let me say it again. Too many leaders constantly try to get people to believe what they are saying. That comes across as desperate and weak. Great leaders only need to get others to believe that they believe what they are saying. This is a form of evangelism that I'm going to touch on later. It is 7 o'clock. We got to end because, y'all, we got trainings and we got a corporate thing we're going to listen to about our artificial intelligence, but we only have a few more pages left. Let me see. Yeah, so we will finish. I promise y'all we'll finish this and start 16 next week. This was so powerful. Everyone is born with unique gifts is our next sub chapter in here. And then we'll talk about our 6 basic needs that drive us. And I'll tell you what those are, and we'll finish this up again next week. One is certainty. 2 is uncertainty and variety. 3 is significance. 4 is love and connection. 5 is growth. And 6 is contribution. We'll go over those next week. And we're heading to the end of this book, y'all. But this was so good. Let me mark where we are. Everyone is born with unique gifts. And there's so many people that think that they don't have any gifts. And I'm here to tell you that you have more gifts than you believe. Okay. So next Monday, although next Monday will be super busy, I'm still going to have book club. All right. Because I feel like this is so important for where we all are. Thank you, Dion, for joining us. I can't wait until you join us again next Monday. And don't forget, after we finish this last 3 chapters in this book, we're going to be going to Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. All right. And it's so crazy. The writing in this book is so tiny, y'all. I ordered the large print. I ordered the large print for myself. So I just might be giving that one away in Philly. Who knows? You never know. You never know what's going to happen. Listen, there's some amazing things that are going to take place in Philadelphia next week when we see each other at conference, y'all. I just I'll be knowing too much. All right. So I'm just gonna tell y'all, some of y'all know what you gotta do. Don't not do it, because just don't not do it. All right. This was a great chapter. I am so grateful to have had all of you here. Listen, no matter what it looks like, and thank you guys for joining me in the studio. I can actually remove y'all from the stream now because we're done. But no matter what it looks like, you guys, I want you to remember that you can live again, laugh again, hope again, dream again, and you can bling again. And I also want you to remember that we have to be kind to one another. We've got to pay it forward and do a good deed this week to someone, right? Find someone that's less fortunate than you and do a good deed. I don't care what it looks like. I'm telling y'all, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that this too shall come to pass. And so be back here next Monday, you guys. Tell someone about book club and share what you've learned with them thus far. We've got so much more to do. We've got so much. Oh, listen, tag and share, right? Tag and share this with someone that may need to hear what we've been talking about. All right, you guys. Good night and God bless you all.